It's Kelly. And I guess I have the camera, um, my camera stand pulled way up, but I'm going to leave it like that for us, just because I think that'll make it easier for you to see everything. I'm just getting up the chat so I can see you guys. And I never remember to quiet it down so that you can't hear me. So anyway, I thought I'd come on. It's been a heck of a week, right? So I have 3 photos here to scrapbook, and this is of an adventure. It was actually last fall, late in the fall, where I went camping with some friends. And this friend and I are runners, but she hadn't been running as much. So we had a commitment that we were going to run, like I think it was a mile, which really, if you're running, isn't too big of a deal. And then our other friend does run on time. So we've got a couple of photos, and it's funny because she takes off like a crazy person and then slows down towards the end. And then, so we caught up in the end. So kind of funny pictures and memories and that kind of stuff. Now, there's a lot of turquoise and pink here, and I wouldn't have to use a camping themed product, but I want to do that because I have it, and I bought it specifically because I knew we were going to go camping. So I'm going to look first through some loose papers I have here. And let's see, just right off the top of my head, there is one that says life was meant for good friends and great adventures, and I have that on a sticker as well. So I'll keep that kind of in my mind that that's out there. And then let's look. So we aren't eating s'mores and hot dogs here. So hi Linda, it's good to see you on. So I'm just going to kind of turn these over. This would be a nice one to sort of highlight the fact I'm wearing the turquoise, so it would make sense to highlight something that was me, plus it's kind of a nice foil for all that pink. So that's an option. I was just thinking as I went on that, I was live after my scrapbook retreat last weekend, and man, did life change in the preceding few days. And as we kind of get into this, well, I can talk about that more, at least like how things are affecting me. Let's just say I'm going to have a lot more time to scrapbook. Let's see. So this is I kind of like this one as well with the dots. I think that's kind of a nice one. And maybe I could use these two in combination. This is, one of the things they say, just kind of keep looking, that's kind of nice too. Like, now I have to keep in mind though that these photos, because I have 3 photos, are going to take up quite a bit of the space on this page. So whatever I do for the second paper, and I'm thinking just 2 off the top of my head, you're probably only going to see probably half an inch on either side of it. So while I do love this, and this is from an old collection called Pebbles Lakeside, I don't think I'll use that on this layout. If this goes fast enough, I could do another one because I have another set of pictures from this. This green is nice, but obviously doesn't go. Now this green is kind of nice and actually works really well with this, and it's from the same collection. So maybe that's what we do. And I kind of I think I like this combination better, although I could somehow figure out how to do this. This almost feels a little busy for me here. If it was more like this, I think that would work. But I like how this feels more green, so it goes around the background. This campground is very wooded. It's in a state park. So I think that would be a nice way to kind of remember this. Now, this is so funny because I have this whole paper pad and I'm using 2 of these old sheets of paper, but I think that's nice because I'm trying to use up my stash, right? This is a good thing to remember because I have some journaling spots here that it doesn't look like I have. Yeah, it does not look like I've pulled any of those out. So I'm just going to see where that 3x4 is in this paper pad. That's a nice one. I'm going to pull this out because like I could use that or that. That's one thing I wish on sheets like this, that they would have more journaling cards here, because that's what I really use them for. I don't usually pocket scrapbook, so a lot of these wouldn't, I wouldn't use them as much. If they could do something that was more half and half, I would appreciate it, but it is what it is, right? And on these, you don't have backside. When I buy regular pattern paper, that doesn't bother me quite as much because I've got the backside of it if I'm doing a regular sheet of paper. All right, so just kind of trying to get rid of these. You guys know me, when I start doing this, I start throwing things behind me, and that's what's going on right there. So we have these things. Now I can see you a little bit better. And what did I do? I actually grabbed this and I put away the polka dot paper. So hang on. There we go. This was kind of nice too because this had all these postcards on the back. So they were great for journaling cards. That kind of goes back. And like if I didn't want to use the flowers, you could put an embellishment there. So I don't think I'll be doing that this time though. All right, so here's the question. And, this would be nice to maybe cover this up because I've got the paper's marred right there. I didn't notice that until just now. But we'll see what I think. Is it better to use this as my sort of, not back, my mat. That's what I wanted. And then this is my background. I kind of like that. The other thing I do like is the lines here because we were doing a run. So I think that's cool. Hi, Moira. It's good to see you. And then actually this is kind of nice. This chevron I could use as some sort of border strip as well. However, I want to try something else. I think I want to try this on the darker paper, and the reason I'm saying that is that I think the photos will pop off of that a little bit better. And of course I said that, and now here we'll do it there. So we've got that option, or we have this option. I'm not particularly feeling one or the other actually, which that's kind of unusual for me. I think I'm going to use this as my background sheet. And the reason why is then if I want to write on it or anything like that, I can do that. It'll make it a little bit easier. Could even stamp on it if I felt like it. We'll see. We'll see how how it goes today. I may be too tired to do more than one layout. So what happened since I saw all of you last week is that I have actually had to close down my massage practice. In the state of Wisconsin, the governor mandated it. There is some question about whether I need to do that or not, honestly, because he is allowing therapeutic massage. However, for me, I had decided before they sorted it out, we have a lobbyist that works for the massage therapist in this state with our state professional organization. But anyway, I decided to stop for at least a few weeks. That is because obviously I'm a massage therapist. I'm working very close to people, and I have a lot of older clients. The other thing is I have a sister who's a nurse, but she's a nursing educator, and she has been for the past more than 15 years, who it's not a question of when, but if she is going to be mandated back to an ICU, they've already warned her. And if they're doing that, you know, the situation is serious, and I don't want to add to her workload or anybody else's workload for that matter. And then my other thing is, you guys have seen me scrap all those darling grandkids of mine. Their entire family is sick, and they have They have not been confirmed to have COVID, but the only reason that is because they cannot be tested right now, because even though they have all the symptoms, they don't have the lung issue where they can't breathe quite as bad as you have to have it to be tested, honestly. So with all those things, I said I don't want to take the chance of getting myself or anyone else sick. So I'm not working, guys, and that's a little tough because I own my own business, but I've seen some really cool things happen. I did work on Friday just to take a couple of clients that had to get in, and I worked masked and gloved, which, trust me, was no fun. And they did some sweet things. Like, one of them handed me a check that covered all of his massages for the rest of the year, plus his first one next year. Another one of my clients handed me a check that covered all of her the next 6 months of her massages, because they were concerned about me and my financial well-being. The good news is the people that I rent from have given us some rent relief already, and I live in my mom's condo right now. She doesn't live here full-time. She's only here during the summer and at Christmas. But when I called her to tell her what was going on, the first thing she said to me was, you're not paying rent. So someone who is self-employed, I'm really lucky that way. So you're going to see a lot more scrapbooking coming from me, because for the foreseeable future, and I'm guessing, I'm looking at this on the outside after talking with my sister and just kind of knowing what I know about pathologies and that kind of stuff, I'm guessing I'm not working for at least the next 3 weeks, and I'm hoping it doesn't go longer than that, but if it does, it is. And you're right, Moira, I think it is a wise thing to do. Especially, I have family members who are sick. As a matter of fact, one of the reasons I'm tired is I did go out and I did do a little bit of grocery shopping for some things that I needed today, which wasn't too bad. And then I had told my daughter-in-law when we did a little video yesterday with her, and my stepson was around, but he was a little busy, and the kids, that I would make them some soup and bring it in on Monday or Tuesday, since I don't have much I have to do. And then I said, tell me what you need, and if you need anything, and I'll bring that in too. She sent me a note today, and they need like milk and eggs and stuff like that. So I'm going to go in tomorrow, and I'll, drop it off at their front door, and then they can get it, and I'll be able to, at least see them and reassure myself that they're okay. Although I did, I saw yesterday when I was video chatting with them. So I don't know if you guys have done any video stuff with friends or family. One of the other cool things is there's a lot of that going on within the scrapbook community right now. Like on Friday night, I participated in a video scrapbooking session on Zoom with Victoria Marie and that gang over there. And then I also did the Calvin Ball one yesterday. So that was fun, because it's a way for those of us who are single and live by ourselves too to do that. So, all right, so let's get back to the layout. So that's what's going on with me. I hope you guys are well and safe and getting some scrapbooking time in. I said to a really good friend of mine, you know how we all say, geez, I wish we had unlimited time to scrap? Yeah, be careful what you wish for, because I just got it, but it came at the what do I want to say? At the expense of my job. So, but here's the good thing. I will be back. I'm not worried about my client base or anything like that. I talked to my 20 plus clients this week, and they were all sad, but said, we understand what you have to do, and that makes sense. And we rescheduled them for a couple of weeks down the road just to see. So that's what's going on. So that's the big life update from me. I'm going to have a lot of time to be scrapbooking. So I'm going to take it that way. A little bit of organizing to do around here. I did so much organizing early this winter because I was, trying with buying a condo and knew that I would need to do a little more organizing. And so I have a lot of that kind of stuff done. There's just a few other projects to do. So here's a nice one that says, go play outside. I kind of like that. Outdoor fun is good. So I could do that. And maybe one of these will become the title. I do like the go play outside. This Laugh Hard Smile Big Camp Often is cute too. Although we only camped once together last summer, but we are talking about it more this coming summer. So I'm just kind of looking through. There's 2 packs of die cuts that come with this summer adventure package. And so I'm just kind of looking through to see what kind of fun things there might be in here. I'm having a hard time reading some of these because, you know, I can't see. Because I can't see because I'm old. All right. Which one of my nephews reminded me about when I was on the phone with him. He's like, Auntie Kelly, you have to be careful because you're older now. I'm like, oh my goodness. I'm not that old. Anyway, I'm looking for, there was one that said something about making memories, and I might have used that already. I have a feeling I did. And we weren't hiking here. This camping here thing would be good for the other one that I have to do. So here's the thing, guys. Yeah, no makeup for like a month. That's another benefit. I'm trying to see the good side about all this. So, like, no makeup for a month. Yay. And I'm in yoga pants and, you know, yoga shirts and that kind of stuff, and all nice and relaxed. This I kind of like. So this comes in a sticker, and I kind of like that because it's a different shape than this. So I'm going to just go grab some wax paper. All right, I know I had a sheet of it somewhere. I was scrapbooking like a crazy person the last 2 days. There it is. And I had stuff everywhere, all over my room. Like nutty, all over the room. And usually I clean up between, but Friday night when I was done, I was tired and I just left it all. I do have a pack of brads that comes with this, and so some of those would be kind of nice to work in here. And there's a nice like turquoise one, so that would be nice to work in just because that would pop my shirt up or out. Let's see, so we have this Go Play Outside. I did want to get in some sort of journaling card, so I'm going to go back to this sheet. This is nice because it has the boots on it, but it has the that turquoise, although that's the same as that. I'm going to pull it out anyway because there's lots of die cuts I could use. I have a little bit to say about this, so I think it would be nice if I had a good one. And I think the s'mores journaling card is not 3x4 card is not as appropriate for this particular layout. Although we were running so we could eat s'mores. And my favorite s'mores are graham crackers, marshmallows, and Reese's peanut butter cups. Something that one of my nieces got us on is using fun candy bars instead of just regular Hershey's. Now there, we could do that, or you can't do that, can you? Because you're not here. But do this, cover up the boots, and that's kind of a nice little thing up there. So I think that's a good way to do that, solve that piece. And trying to decide, I think I'm going to just put that flat because then I can use things around it for the dimension. That is, if I can keep from gluing it to it the incorrect way. That's like when you drop your, I don't know, peanut butter or whatever, and it always falls floor side down, your peanut butter sandwich. Not that I would know anything about that. Okay, so let's see. Do we want to... What I'm trying to decide here, if you can see it, I'm going to move my hand out of the way, is do I want that to do that, or are we just going to keep it in here? Actually, what I think I need to do is use that gray flannel ink because it'll help define the edges of this a little bit better. It was getting a little lost because it's all kind of the same color, and I think that that's going to be true also about the 3x4 card here, that I'll define that edge a little bit because they're so close in color here. Now, I don't have the edges defined of any of the background papers, and if I had thought about it, I would have done that a little bit earlier, but oh well. Okay, and I like this like this, so I'm just going to leave it so that it is only on the card. It's not touching that edge. Sometimes I'll put the card here, and sometimes I'll do it here. And I think today I'm going to bring it into the photos. And I think the reason I'm doing that is the contrast here feels really stark between these two. If I bring it in, it feels more joined to the photos. Otherwise, it feels a little separated to me, if that makes any sense at all to you guys. But that's why I'm doing it the way that I am. All right, so we have that there. That's going to go there. Just was thinking about, is there anything else that I could use here? There's that. This is kind of cute. So this is I had that little compass over here, but I like this compass sticker itself for a little bit of dimension there. And I also like the fact that it's a circle. So again, it's a different shape. Oh, yikes. Oh man, today things are landing. I have to be careful. So I did get a little sticky on that photo, but I'll just take that off later on with my undo. Except it is the new undo versus the old, and it does not work as well. So if you have the old stuff, preserve it. I was talking to somebody at my scrapbook retreat last weekend, and somebody said, "Are you using that stuff to her?" And she said, "Oh yeah." And I asked her, I said, "Are you using the old stuff or the new stuff?" And she said, "I have the old stuff because I bought a whole big thing of it." And I said, "Don't waste it, because when you have to switch to the new, it's not as good as the old stuff was." Supposedly it won't kill us though, so at least that's what California is saying, I guess. That's the big reason they had to switch it. All right. And I think what I'll do here, if I can, I was going to try, see, I don't like it on the end there, but then my other problem, this might need to shift a little. I might take back what I said. I think I'm going to maybe overlap that just the littlest bit, because otherwise I have to, this doesn't fit well without hitting the N, and I was creating some trapped white space, literally some trapped white space. Now I know there's trapped white space there, but your eye will fill in that so that it understands what's happening here. Okay, so that's that. I also could, you know, add some brads in here to figure that out a little bit, so we'll see. Now we have this one here, and I'm just looking to see, there's a lot going on right here because of the photo, so I don't know that I want a heck of a lot more up here. Let's see, we have hiking boots. There's a nice big camera here. Could pop that up there. I think I'm gonna think about that one. It feels a little big for me. And I do have, now what I could do though is, a couple different things. I have this also in chipboard, but the same shape. So I think I'm going to grab that, because then that would be nice, because I have the dimension then that I have here. So I think I'll get that on, and I usually add some adhesive to my chipboard. Now this time, so well, actually this is remaining, it's kind of consistent. So I don't really like it with this showing. The contrast again feels too much between the three pieces here. So I'm gonna drop this down here and just put that on, and then it's kind of nice because the edge of this is coming really close to where I am, and then this other friend is back here. So I think that's nice. Now, there is a cute little sign here that I'm just going to see if maybe I can make it work somewhere here. I think if I had done this here, but it's also a lot of words, I think I'll leave this for another day. Just looking to see. Now I had said I liked this brad here because it has the turquoise in. Now, here's the tricky part, right? Because this brad has legs, but it's not, it won't sit right because it's, I can't get it flat to the paper. So what I'm going to do is grab my button shank remover. These are really handy, A, if you have buttons with shanks on them, but B, if you're trying to do something with like taking off the legs to a brad. Now, the one thing about this I will tell you is you have to be careful because it's usually kind of still rough when you take them off, and it usually does it right at the edge. So it's not like it does it like with the button shank. You can clip the whole thing off and it'll come off and it'll be really nice, but with these they don't really do that. So be careful because there's a rough edge to that. And then what I usually do, I'm going to get this up in the camera so you guys can see this. So can you see this edge? Let's see. There we go. Sorry guys. There's a little edge here still. So I take my button shank remover and I push that down back into the brad itself. Now, the one on the other side came off pretty cleanly. There's a little bit of an edge, but not too much. And they come off differently. I will tell you, if you do this, be careful if you don't have glasses, because when you're removing the button shanks, they can come off really, really fast. Oh, that's funny. Moira says she's not as chatty as usual because she's cooking and watching. Yummy, Moira. I know where you work, so I'm thinking I would like to come to dinner. I have been cooking like a crazy person, too. I'm working on chili right now. I made a fantastic, trying to think, a chicken pot pie. And I also made a really good, another soup that I can't think of what it was. It was like a beef soup. It was a soup mix that I actually had that I got. So it was yummy. And the cool part about it is because I live by myself, I'm just throwing those in the freezer. Because what I normally do when I'm working is I just keep those in my freezer, and then when I come home at night, I can just grab them and I have a really good meal. But I haven't had to make them that night. So, hey, Barbara. Nice to see you from Delaware. That pretty state that I was in not that well. I guess it's been a while now. It's been a year since I've been in Delaware. That just doesn't seem possible to me. Okay, so kind of playing a little bit here with where this is going to go. And like, do I want it on the side? Now I'm thinking I might need another one. Just because that feels a little lonely. And there's this nice tent one here. We tent camped on this particular outing. So that it wasn't a big deal for the run that we were tent camping, but it works. I can make these things work. So Moira, I'm going to make you be chatty for a second. Are you still working? Because I know you work in the food industry, and I know that that's been pretty hard hit in a lot of places. Although the cool part is I think most places in the United States are actually, in the United States anyway, are letting the restaurants stay open, and bars actually, you guys, for carryout. That's what they did around here. Originally, they closed all of our bars, and then they actually have made it okay for them to do carryouts. So, like, I've seen posts from friends who were going to a Mexican restaurant with carryout margaritas. And I saw somebody, a craft beer place in the area, carry out beers. Now I live in Wisconsin, so not to throw my compatriots of my state under the bus, but we can put away a few beers. I'm just going to be nice about that. And you already know I have a wine issue. As a matter of fact, I have some wine with me right now. I haven't, that I poured a glass just because I'm just kind of, it's been a long day already. So I decided I was bringing some wine with me today. Now this is, I've kind of covered the rough parts of this, but it's not sitting very well. So I think what I'm going to do is grab my foam tape here, and I'll just actually mount this up on foam tape. And if I have to cut pieces off, I just usually kind of put them down on the, like on my camera, or I have a little dish. The dish is covered by the next photograph I'm going to scrap though at the moment. I do usually keep a pretty clean room. Usually. Okay, and this, I still need another piece of this foam tape. I used to have 3D Zots, which I really liked because for buttons and flare, that's kind of a cool thing too. So, okay, so Moira says, okay, so Barbara says first that their restaurants are open and your beaches are closed. As I have heard, they're only open for takeouts and your beaches are closed. So it does seem like everybody's kind of do that. And Moira, who lives in Canada, in case you guys don't know, they are open and it's a retail grocery. Oh, so the grocery and takeout, so you're essential now. Oh my gosh, so they're trying to get organized for deliveries. I can't even imagine. And then Moira also says she's going to 3 days a week. What that has been like for grocery stores and teachers, you guys. Oh my gosh, to go from business as usual one day to you now have a brand new business model and you have to figure it out. I will say it's been incredible to see how businesses have dealt with that, and pretty successfully from what I'm seeing. Okay, so I'm toying with doing this. I'm not sure I'm going to like this though. The reason is I can see this edge right here. So now, remember when I moved this before? Oh, that's awesome, Moira. Moira says they're trying to figure out how to keep as many staff on their payroll as possible. And Moira, if I remember correctly, you work for one of your family members, right? Do I remember that? If I ever get up in Moira's neck of the woods, I'm going to visit her because she works for an Italian deli, if I remember correctly. And if I'm anywhere near her at Christmas time, I'm definitely going to be doing that. Okay. So we have that. And I'm liking that cluster. I'm not liking what's going on up here. And I'm feeling like those two brads up there are too much. That maybe we need one of those down here. So Moira works for her nephew. Okay, and Linda says, thank you, Moira. You're so nice, I knew that you'd welcome me if I came to visit you. I'm a little partial to Italian delis. It was something that I discovered when I was in San Francisco and Boston, and then when I visited my nephew in Philadelphia. Oh my gosh. He took me to one that we had a meal on the Commons where Independence Hall is, that it will forever be one of my favorite vacation memories. Okay, so I'm just playing around with this. So, and Linda says that she's in Florida and she has the same thing as Barbara does too, where I did hear that they closed your beaches. We won't throw any controversy up there, but oh my God, what were they thinking? So anyway, sometimes you have to think for other people because spring breakers can't be very responsible. I'll just leave it at that. Let's see. So I need something up here. And I'm not finding it quite yet. So I do have this little sheet. This was a sheet of paper from the Pebbles Lakeside collection, and they there's all these little icons on it. So I kind of kept it. And there's one here that says, welcome to the lake. So I'm going to see if I can cut that out. Oh, thanks, Linda. Camera. Oh, yeah, an Italian wine, Moira says. Yes. Oh, I have been to Italy, and trust me, I like Italian wine. And by the way, if I was still working right now, I would be booking a trip to Italy for later in the year. Because A, I love it. B, it would be nice to help their economy back when they're ready for us to be there. And C, the flights are really cheap right now. Not to be mean, but I mean, seriously, you guys. Okay, so we're going to just play with this a little bit and see what I think. Okay, so I don't like it underneath. This is going to be one of those. This is going to be one of those tough clusters. We were talking about this on the Victoria Marie little scrapbooking thing that we did, is when we do YouTube and you see a scrapbook, it looks like we do it really fast. And that's honestly because, to a certain extent, most of us speed it up because you don't want to necessarily watch things in real time. I will tell you, most people drop off of videos after about 8 minutes. So even me, who's a relatively fast scrapper, most of my layouts are done in about 35 minutes. And I don't know that that's fast, but, you know, compared to some people who take hours, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just what it is. But YouTubers and people who are watching YouTube don't really want to watch a scrapbook for 2 hours all the time, unless you're doing a live like this. Then you know what you're in for, right? And even then, people will drop off because it gets a little monotonous. Okay, so I like this a little bit better up here. I don't know that I'm totally sold. Oh, and I just saw something that might work. I'm not totally sold about this because I don't like all those words together. But on the sheet, there's a tent. And so there's a tent down there. Oh, and I could do it. So I could do it in this one, or I could do it in this one. And I just had an idea. I think what I'm going to do is cut this 25 speed limit off. Now, that would be kind of funny, except we were not running at 25 miles an hour. Not at all. Even when I was fast, I was not running that fast. I could run about 6 miles an hour. And I know that because I used to run a lot of 10Ks. I've not run so many. So one of the things that I'm realizing is that I'm very one color down here. It's a lot of the turquoise colors, and I have a big block of that up there. So I'm thinking maybe what I might want to do is see if I can get a little bit of the craft color here, down in here. And I'm just kind of looking, I want to be able to recognize that that's a tent, but not. Okay, so I like that. The other color that I think I might be missing, honestly, is some navy. Because it's represented kind of here. You can really see it because it's right on the edge. And I'm going to now put a navy tent down up there. Maybe what I should do, there's a green one here as well. So I'm going to cut this one off. Sometimes I'll do this one. I'm not sure. I'll just cut the piece, and then I can play with it a little bit to see. Because maybe green would be okay up here because we have the navy right there, and maybe some navy down here. So if I'm thinking navy down here, there is this navy arrow here, and this is what I do when I start working with clusters, is that I start thinking about shapes, colors, that I don't necessarily have to have the exact same thing. So obviously these clusters are different, but they both have a brad. The round shape is represented by the brads. There's a little bit of this color in. Both of them have a popped up element. They both have turquoise in. I think this one might need a little bit more work, but we'll see what that is. It feels like it's not finished to me. So that's how I kind of look at some of these things as I'm working. There is navy right there, I just realized, so that might work for that. I'm thinking I kind of like that idea. I wish I had probably more green down in here. So my question is now, do I grab the green here and then think about just some like wood veneer? And I actually like that better. I think I'm going to put some wood veneer into this mix because I think this was so different than everything around it. It was calling its attention to it. I think this works a little bit up here with these colors because there's browns up in here. There wasn't any brown over here. So I really like now how this cluster has come together. So I'm going to just glue it down since I like it. It's one of those things I wouldn't even really know. Well, I guess I'm telling you why I'm doing things, but sometimes I just look at it and I go, oh, something doesn't look right to me there. And then I start to play with elements. And again, I start to think about color. I think about shape. Now, the other thing, you guys, I don't know if you caught this, but I'm mixing cream and white here because I'd forgotten about this Lakeside, which is the main papers that I used, was actually cream-based. So these pieces here are actually cream-based, whereas the new collection that I was using, the summer camp collection, is white-based. Okay, so we have that done. Now, thinking about this up here again and what I could do up there. Here's the Welcome to the Lake piece again. So there's some green. There is this, not this fish. There's this piece though too. This could be interesting. What I could do is this would be another different shape, which is fine. And I think I'd thought about blue up there, but now this is a little bit cut off, but we'll see if we can fix that. Maybe this would look better. And I think I like this because of the kind of directional way that looks, that looks directional. I actually like that a lot better. I think it's not as big, and that's why. Okay. Just looking to make sure I'm not throwing something away that could be valuable here. So I like that so far. I still feel like this is not right. Like I feel like I need something here, but that would be, it would almost have to be like a circle or something, or like the edge of something, because the so like that extra pattern there. Oh, here we go. So I'm having to be careful here because the boots are right there. I like that better. It feels like it blends a little bit more or less, or I don't know, something. And I totally forgot to ink the edges of those. Do you ever go back and look at a layout when you're getting ready to put it away and realize, oh yeah, this is one of those times that you forgot to ink. This is one of those times where I'm making embellishments work for me. Yes, I do not have a tag with the boots anymore. I don't do a ton of hiking, so I'm okay with that. So I really want this coming out as far as I can get it without you seeing the boots. There we go. I could pull this, well actually I can't pull this in anymore. Those boots are going to show now that I think about it. That's why I did that. If I could, I'd pull it out just a little bit further, but life is not perfect. Nor are my scrapbook pages. At least I try to tell myself that they don't have to be perfect. It's fine. All right, so then we have this guy, and I'm going to put him down, like the arrow pointing down here, because like it's the progression of the photos. Like this is the earliest photo going down, and now I really feel like that cluster is a lot more filled in and a lot better for me anyway. It feels like it's a lot better. I still feel like I could use some round elements in here, or some wood maybe down in here. So I'm going to grab my magic box of wood veneer and see if there's anything appropriate. Now I really need it for here, but it's going to have to come up here, otherwise it will look out of place. So I keep mine in one of the hardware containers that you can get like at Walmart and other places. And I'm seeing a geotag in here. So in Calvin Ball, I happen to know that geotags are on the list. So is camping, by the way, which is one of the reasons I decided to do this today. But I also did want to just get this done. And there's a heart on this geotag, which I think is kind of fun. And I like the way that looks. I like that, just that little addition there. It's another element of dimension. Now, we have a camera down here, so I might be able to put a camera up there. And then the other thing that, you know, I can always add for color to help balance color out a little bit if I still need to is enamel dots. And I'm really trying to use my enamel dot stash. And if you are playing Calvin Ball, that is another thing that lots of Calvin Balls dot stuff. Okay, so then I am thinking I could do this arrow. Now, here's the one thing I don't like. The pattern in this arrow, I'm seeing the blue and the green through that, and I'm not loving it. But I do like how it kind of draws your eye across the layout there. So I'm just looking to see if I have some other kind of arrows that I might like to use in my magic box here. So, and I might just, I do like that shape. Although I actually like that. So I think we'll do that arrow. I do have a bigger one too if I want to just check that out and see what I think. I think this is a little bit more substantial because it's a big cluster right here. And then your eye is making that diagonal from up here at the top of this picture down and across all these pictures. So I think that's a good way to kind of bring your layout together. I think I've talked about that before quite a bit. Okay, so this cluster feels really done to me. Like now I have little bits of things here. I might go in and pull some enamel dots out when we're all done. We'll kind of see what happens. I'm still working with this up here and thinking it doesn't feel finished to me, but what I'm going to do to help that out, I don't know. Just kind of looking to see if I have any like fun saying like this best wishes saying. It's going to be hard because this chipboard is so big. It's almost like if guys, it's almost like if I went back to the sticker that I'd be better off. That's a thought. Let's see. I'm going to try it and see what I think. Because then I could get things on here and they wouldn't look so let's say they'll fit better. Okay. Yeah, that just made a big difference to me. I'm trying to cover up the top of the tag here, because it is a little different now that the sizes are just a little bit different. One of my favorite tools when I'm doing with stickers is my old Cricut spatula, because it's even more flat. I did think about backing that piece of paper, that arrow with a piece of paper, Anna. Yeah, Anna. But I was being lazy, honestly. I just didn't feel like it. I didn't honestly want to add another color and make things even worse. Because So I was already having kind of a problem here. All right, so I'm gonna, now the other thing that's nice about this is because I can sneak this in a little bit closer. Get that guy in a little bit more. Okay, so that feels a little bit better there. Still not great for me. I still need something else. Now, I could look at that same arrow that I was playing with and see if it works here. Now here's where I think it might be a really good use to put some backing paper here, because I think this not having a color here is too, it kind of loses its significance because the colors are too close there. So my question is, do I want to do it in the navy? Which I think at one point I said I probably could use some navy on this. So that's what I think I'm going to try and see. I think that'll help this cluster, and I think it'll work. So see, Annie, your idea worked. It just wasn't in that particular place, and I had to stop being lazy to do it. I've said for a long time, I'm a lazy scrapper. That's why I think that's one of the reasons it took me so long to get a Cricut, because I didn't know if I would really take the time to cut things. And I know, like, I have a really good friend who has one, and she bought hers because she didn't like buying thickers and that kind of stuff. Well, obviously, you've seen my thickers stash. I don't have a problem with that. And I'm too lazy to cut them. Honestly. Okay. This shifted while I was working with it, and this may not. I may have to recut it again. This is why I'm lazy. See if I can get it to work here. Part of it is I just wasn't paying attention to what I was doing, right? So I think I can get it. Yes. All right. So now we'll put the glue on the back, and I think I'm really going to like the way this looks. Yeah. I like the blue. So got the arrow backed for you, and that is a great idea. I do that if I need to, but like I said, I can be kind of lazy. Now, I don't know that I'm going to put a title on this, so I thought about putting a title here. This is where they usually land for me. It could land here, but I don't think I want to do a title there because of the arrow, and I think that feels okay to me. But one of the things that I am looking at now, and I don't know how I can see to find anything here because it's crazy on my desk at the moment, is I have a cluster here, I have a cluster here. This feels really blank to me. And if you don't like a lot of stuff on your layouts, that might be perfectly good, and this, the way it looks right now is fine, and leave it, and that's all good. But I think I need, for my purposes, I think I need something else up here. And I tend to do something like this, which is I do a banner or something that's narrow up here, just to give it a little decoration or something up there. So that's my first kind of thought. Okay, so I have that up there. Now I want to bring in some of these other elements, but not a ton of them because this is a much smaller cluster. So I'm thinking I'm going to want some kind of brad up here probably. And maybe one of these smaller ones. I'll wait. I want to wait on that to see. I could repeat that, but that doesn't feel right to me. I'm thinking I'm going to go back to this sheet, and now if I could find an arrow in a color here that I think would work, I think that would be good. There's orange on this camera now that I'm seeing it, and it's nowhere else on this layout. So I could bring that orange in there. That would be nice. This one is the same color, so that won't work. And then there's a dark brown, which I don't have any brown. I do have this dark green, but that feels like it might be a little bit, oh, but I've got a blue one again up here. So maybe blue, because this is so much blue here. I think if I don't have the blue up in that other cluster, it's going to look weird. Well, weird. Something's not going to look finished. because it's so prevalent in the rest of the layout, especially because it's the map for the photos. All right. So, and it says one of the things she likes to do with those, the open type of wood things or chipboard, is to fill in the open space with Nuvo drops. Oh, that's an awesome idea. She says it's a lazy way to bridge a gap. Now, honestly, I'm so lazy. It would be nice if I would use my Nuvo drops. That's a great idea for using them, though, seriously. So I will look at doing that. It's an awesome idea. And I have them. I just really don't use them all that often. I think I'm a little afraid of them, actually. So that would actually be a really nice way to kind of get yourself used to them, I think, and how they work without a lot of risk, because you don't have to worry about points and that kind of stuff so much. So thinking again about bringing a brad, and I know I need to do that, but it's which one. I do like that little turquoise, because it brings in the turquoise from, that's the prevalent color in all the other embellishments. So that's a great idea. And hey, Janet. Janet is joining us from Toronto. All right. So I don't have any wood up in this cluster. And I'm thinking I don't want anything too big because the cluster is so small. So I think even like this size, which is a little bit smaller, would be too big. So I'm going to grab my ATG here and then put that on. So last week, you guys, when I was at my my retreat, and I did the 70 layouts, I went through almost 4 rolls of ATG, which I love that because I know I've done a lot of work when that happens. So that was pretty cool. And I have all those layouts put away. I don't normally do it quite that fast, but when I was playing Calvin Ball, they have a little thing for putting away 5 layouts. So I think I got an extra 16 points because I put that and a few others away. So Calvin Ball is this crazy thing. It's a Facebook Messenger group, and you have rules, but they're crazy rules. And the rules come and go. It's for the month of March. I know Moira is playing along when she can. And people are like, I think I have about 1,100 points right now, and the only reason I have 1,100 points is because I was at a scrapbook retreat. Although my scrapbooking is, I'll be doing a lot of scrapbooking now, so I'm guessing that that will improve. So I didn't bother to take off the legs on this because I was, because I can put it on the back. Anyway, so if you're interested, it's just this crazy group. Like, you have rules, things like, you know, put some chipboard on or use enamel dots, but you also have crazy rules like use a head, you know, do a, put a hedgehog on your layout, or use a flamingo, or there's all sorts of crazy stuff, but it's really fun. So I'm just playing around a little bit about what I want to do here for that. Thanks, Moira. Yeah, 1,100 points. I'm not complaining about the 1,100 points, but I would not have 1,100 points if I hadn't been in a scrapbook retreat. That's a lot to get. It's the totally for bragging rights, no prizes, and you can join anytime you want. So if you are interested in it, go to Facebook and look up Calvin Ball 2020. You can join at any point. So then there's files there to kind of tell you like what the rules are, who the leaders are, how to work it. And you can seriously just join now, because there's one of the things they said yesterday when we were doing our little real-time video, our live video, was that the layouts now are starting. You can get a lot of points on a layout now because there's so many rules. I don't think I have my rules down here, or I would go get them. If you're interested, I can grab them. Yeah, thanks, Moira. I actually think it works out really well. So this is one of the things I was telling you guys about, how don't get caught up in feeling like in your clusters you have to have all the same amount, all the same pieces. because I don't. I mean, look at how different they are. They each have a brad. They each have a wood veneer, but the wood veneer in every one of the clusters is different. They each have one of these little pieces that I cut off from that sheet, but they're other than, you know, these two are very similar, but they're all different. Some of them have, they all have, I guess they all have stickers, but they all have turquoise, they all have the navy, and they all have that khaki color. So I really think this is done, other than the journaling, which I won't bore you with on camera. But don't get caught up in, it has to match, that you have to have all the same elements. It's just, you want to balance color, you want to balance textures, which is why there's a brad in each of these, because they all have that silver texture and that shiny texture to them. You want to look at balancing shapes sometimes as well. So if you have a circle element in two clusters like I do here, I definitely wanted to put it in this cluster as well, or it would have looked a little odd. So that's kind of a thing to sort of look at as well. And I'm toying with maybe adding some more stars as I'm just talking to you and looking at this. So I'm going to grab a couple more just to see. And now that one's pretty big. That might be too big, but I'm toying with, and I actually like that better. I think it's a little more balanced with the 3 stars. So I think I'm going to try to grab a smaller one though, because that big one I think is too big. Or is that the same size? That's the same size. All right, so I have a tiny baby star here, or I could use 3 the same size too. Let's see what I think if I do. These are baby ones, are so cute. I mean, look at that. That's darling, that tiny little darling one. I actually like that better with the 3 stars on it. It has a little bit more presence to it. And this is one of those cases now, they're getting so tiny. I'm going to grab my micro glue dots for jewels, or in my life pretty much wood. I do put bling on layouts on occasion, not as much as I used to, but it is kind of fun using some of those products, especially since I'm doing the stash freeze. I will tell you, I've been very tempted to go on a Scrapbook website and do some shopping. I have a little stash of cash that I use for things like that, so it doesn't come out of my regular budget. But I'm trying to remind myself that I am frozen, not for money reasons, but although now that I'm not working, I guess I should really think about that. But it is more for, I just want to use up some stash. Okay, so I think that's good. I like the way that turned out and how that all looks. I'm going to, let me see, what time is it, guys? So actually, I was thinking about doing another layout, but I want to watch the news in our area. So I think I'm going to call it done with this one. Maybe I'm sure I'll be back on live in the next couple of days. I've got this picture right here that was taken the same day but has kind of a different story. So I'm thinking I'd like to scrapbook that. Moira's feeling a little retail therapy as well too. So I'd like to scrap that. And I've got this great Bella Boulevard acrylic word that says at the lakes. So I think that would be fun to use with this one. Who knows? We'll see how I feel later on. I've got to go start the soup for my stepkids for tomorrow. And I've got a bread to make for them as well too. So it might not work out to come back on later on, but maybe I will. But if you guys have the notification bell on, it'll notify you if I go up. Otherwise, I'll try to get, I'll try to get this one done again soon. If nothing else, if you don't see it live, you'll see it as a process video eventually. So thanks you guys for joining me. Thanks Moira and Linda and Anna and Janet. And I'm trying to think if I missed anybody. And Barbara. Those, I can see you guys are on. There's a few more other people on too. So thanks you guys for joining me. It was nice to I was missing you, honestly. Like, I haven't done a live scrapbooking session for a while. And one of the things I think, I know it's crazy because I haven't met any of you, but I definitely feel like I know some of you, even though we've never met in person. And I think because I certainly don't filter what I tell you, you probably feel like you know me on some level too. So you guys, stay safe. If you have jobs that are critical jobs and are out there, you'll be in my prayers. I can add you to my 35-person prayer list of people who have critical jobs or are sick right now. But just be well and have fun scrapping, and I will see you guys soon, hopefully. Bye, everybody, and thanks for joining me today.